Today viewers, well, it's been a bit busy lately. I've probably may have sold this project Duke now, so that's all ready to go to a new home. I don't need it anyway, so I got this chute. This chute's pretty well keeping this one as long as I possibly can. But yeah, as I said, the project one is going to sell it. Need the space back. I'm a potential buyer for that one, so which is good. And I was given this battery to put in it, but it's only a 2-year-old battery, and it's sat for 4 months, and I recently just acquired it about a week ago. It was dead flat. It was about 8 volts on the multimeter. My C-Tech charger fixed it, but ESR checked it with a battery tester. It wouldn't go below about 14 milliamps, which is absolutely terrible. An ESR rating like that means the battery's horrendously sulfated. But the C-Tech was on it for about 6 days, and it hovered around 13-14 milliamps of ESR and about a 250 cold cranking amp mark, which is terrible for a 640 cold cranking amp battery. It's only about 2 years old. Had a pretty easy life. I just sat for 4 months recently, so it should come better than that. So I've got the buck converter set to 16 volts, and I've been cooking this thing on 16 volts for the last 5 hours. And my ESR started at 14 milliamps, and it's dropped down to about 9 milliamps. I checked it about 5 minutes ago. Took the charger off, rested it for a minute and tested it with my tester. Now it's gone down to 9 milliamps, and the CCA has gone up to about 320 cold cranking amps. It's good, it's improving. The ESR going down is a good sign. It means this aggressive method is destroying the lead sulfate inside there, breaking it down and dissolving it back into the solution. So this is actually quite a good handy little device, handy gadget. I can just smell it. Just smell the solution charge in there. This is quite a new Century battery. They're not maintainable anymore. This is a completely maintenance-free design now, so you can't open it and top the fluids up anymore. It's a 90th anniversary Century battery. It's pretty new, so it'll recover. It's dropped down from 8 amps down to 1.5 amps, so that should go to about probably 200 or 300 milliamps and stay around there, and that's when I know this is fully desulfated. Yeah, I'm going to make another one of those power supplies. This is another one. I've ordered another one of those Ruideng DPS 5020 buck converters. Because I thought I'd destroyed this one, but I hooked up a battery to it and didn't take notice of the polarity of the battery terminals, and they reversed polarity and it had a little pop inside here. And that was the end of it. It was open circuit. It wouldn't generate any. It would not generate any output or do anything when I connected it. Pick up the voltage on the screen when it turned off on here. So there's 2 little 20 amp fuses I've jumped with blobs of solder. Got rid of those and it's working fine now. I'm going to get another fuse holder and series up a 20 amp fuse inside this case. You just have a replaceable fuse in there. Because those surface mount fuses, you can't really replace them. They're just soldered directly to the board and they're tiny. So I'm going to put a reusable fuse. Just make it so I can service it. Which has gone up again. What's going on there? It's gone back up. Let's shut off. Power off. Do a test. Let's get this checked. See where we're at, where it sits at now. 12 milliamps, 13.9, 13.4 cold cranking amp. It's better, but it's a slow process. This is better than those snake oil desulfators you get online and those scam videos you see on the internet and YouTube of fixing car batteries. This is by far the best method to do it. Just overcharge it a little bit on something like this. That's fixing it. I'm going to make this the same unit too. I got another one of those. As I just said, I got another one of those DPS 5020 units coming. I want to enclose this onto a new container, make it portable. This is a UPS transformer based one. They get about 27 volts after the rectifier and the capacitor. So I can do 12 and 24 volt setups with this thing. This will be a neat little portable unit, all in one. As opposed to this one, I want higher voltage, but the transformer's too big and bulky, so I can't port it around so much. This will be a benchtop one. But yeah, this is going to be a nice little portable unit. I can take it with me wherever I go. Yeah, it's just a UPS transformer based design. Works quite well. Got a nice 50 amp bridge rectifier on a old MSI motherboard pipe and heatsink layout. That's working quite well. The buck converter design actually I've set up, fix this battery up too. So I got a good battery now. It's never going to be a 620 cold cranking out battery again. It's only a 340 top cold cranking out battery. Not great, but it did actually repair this battery from being completely dead. Anyway, another thing I've been doing, I've been working on my carbonator, put a new seal on it, and I've repaired this knob here. So now I'm going to handle, I can use this control now. That's all fixed. I did order a seal off eBay. This is an old, for vintage fridges, a seal, a locally acquired one, this one. But it's just too big. I don't think it's going to fit this one either. It might actually. No, it would. It's the same profile as this, the seal on this one. This would fit this fridge. But this seal is too big to fit this. Much too big for that. And this carbonator. I did have it on here, but the door just would not close. It was just too thick. So I ended up going to Bunnings and bought this profile seal, just a stick on. It actually works quite well. Stuck it on the actual inner lip of the door skin, and that's actually worked out very, very well. Fixed up this latch. I got a cheap broken trigger nozzle, a cheap Chinese plastic one, and the springs inside those is about that long and the exact same thickness and profile and size that was originally in there. It fell apart, so I thought, well, it was much too long, so I cut it about just past halfway, put it in there and rebuilt this latch. So beautiful. And I chucked the my bit of rubber hose in there, which it originally had in there, and that gives it some extra rigidity. It gives it some extra clunk, so it actually feels quite heavy duty. Also acts as a dampener. This whole thing just screwed off nice and conveniently. I drilled out the broken bolt from the original handle. My replacement. I'm going to make probably going to get a bit of wooden dowel or something. And yeah, just sand it down the shape. Have it down here, have a proper handle on it. So that's awesome. Now look at that, that's a good seal. Perfect. That worked out better than I thought. Not the original profile seal that they designed for a fridge, but it bloody looks pretty good. It actually works very well. So I'm happy with that. That's quite a nice quality neoprene rubber too, so I'm very happy with that. Anyway, next I'm going to just repaint it. But I'm not going to use the same paint we use on this one, because this paint isn't very good. It's well cured now, so it's better, but I'm going to get some proper, good quality appliance paint for this one and do this one properly. It's going to look very good when it's done. But I'm very happy with how it's turned out. Anyway, I've also got this curvy set up. It's keeps clicking on and off the start winding though. It does produce cool quite well, but it just clicks on and off the start winding. The original relay did it as well, so I'm going to have to monitor the run current of this compressor while I'm running it, do some checks. And there is a setting on this, this is the new relay I just got. I think you can tension or loosen the hot wire in there and calibrate the relay. I might end up having to do that with this one. It does work extremely well apart from the cutting in and out in the start winding. There's no loose connections there, they're all nice and good. So I'll do some checks, do some current and voltage monitoring while this is running, and that will determine what the problem is. I don't think it has a damaged winding in there, because otherwise it wouldn't run at all. It would just trip the breaker or trip the RCD. I didn't mega it and everything before I rewired it. But yeah, I have it through this RCD and everything, and just seems to be the relay is not calibrated. That would be the most likely scenario. Just clicks on and off the start winding while it's running. Anyway, projects. Squad me some nice downlights, 12 volts, so they're nice. Got me some more electrical goodies here and there, which is good. Quite busy at work now, it's quite enjoyable. A variety of work. Scored a lot of LEDs, nice. Fluoro LEDs, did some couple of lighting upgrades, so those are always handy. Anyway, thanks for watching.